Yeah. Holy shit. Holy fuck. All right. I got it, man.
Hey everyone, welcome to the first episode of Football Sidelines, where I interview all sorts of people that live, breathe, and eat football. For today, our guest is Dr.Babaki, who currently has his PhD in biology and is going this year to University of Toronto to pursue his psychology career. So tell us a little about yourself. Tell us a little about yourself.
I already have a PhD in biology. I'm going to do psych. This fucking guy. Well, guys, as you know, I'm Dr. Babaki. He was incorrect about that. I'm currently working on my dissertation for my biology PhD at the Massachusetts College of Pharmacy and Health Sciences. I did my bachelor's with a major in bio and a major in psych. So I'm very in tune, and I divulge a lot into, like physiological and psychological, study and literature and stuff like that. I'm very fascinated in that stuff, as you can tell, as my life revolves around it, essentially.
So do you have any advice for people that want to pursue your footsteps into this career?
You know what? Honestly, you have to be passionate about it. And sometimes it's very difficult to find passion in a certain topic. For me, I can't seem to remember the individual who gave me this advice. I read it a while ago, a long time ago when I was much younger. But it was essentially this theory that, let's say you're interested in accounting, right? You want to pursue it, but at the same time you're a little hesitant, but the money's good, right? But you can see yourself being, enthralled about it. So then there has to be a gateway. So, like, for example, a gateway could be, simple thing like a book that revolves around something you're really interested in, that also kind of is in tune with accounting. So like something about Wall Street, something really interesting and fascinating. For me personally, what really brought me in was like fitness and bodybuilding and how that related to, pharmacology, the neurology in the brain and the balance of chemicals and whatnot, and, the physiological state of the body and stuff like that. But it's just about finding passion in the topic you're trying to get into, whatever
Yeah,
it may
listen,
be.
I totally agree. I think you need passion in everything that you want to pursue. You can't just do it for the money or like do it to prove other people wrong. There has to be some sort of connection to your passion.
Yeah, for sure. People, like, obviously monetary freedom is very
Yeah,
important, and
like
I get that.
everyone wants to be rich. There's nothing wrong with that.
Well, that's the way the system is. You got to be rich or
Yeah.
you lose. But see, right, take me for example. Right now I'm working on my dissertation. I'm like 3.5 years into my PhD. Like, it's not easy, and I don't get paid that much for the research I do. It's a little amount of money. I can barely get
Yeah.
by. I got a lot of debt I have to pay off from my undergrad, but I know
It's
that
like what
once
you
I'm
like to do.
yeah, it's what I like to do, and I know that once I'm done, I won't have any regrets. One thing I like to live by is that when I'm on my deathbed, I don't want to be like, oh man, fuck, that one time I should have done this, or I had 5 years to do this and I didn't get off my ass to do it, whatever it may be.
Yeah. For sure, for sure. So now that brings us to another topic, which is kind of a broad question, which is, do you think money equals happiness or money leads to happiness?
Oh man, I'm curious to see your answer for this too, but money for happiness, you know, I've I've had a difficult life, my family's always gone by, especially when I was younger. We lived in a really small house with a lot of other, relatives, a few of my uncles, a few of my aunts, and their kids and their spouses and whatever. And it's tough, man. It's really tough in that environment. Everybody's pitching in, and sometimes, there's
Yeah.
arguments over money, and it's just like everybody's just getting by, and everybody's trying to feed their family. So I've always had like a kind of struggle with, money or whatever it may be, psychologically. Like, it's never really been I can just buy whatever I want or whatnot. But I think in terms of what you're saying, does money buy happiness? I think to a certain extent, okay, this is what the studies have shown. I can give you whatever anecdotal, but this is the facts. The facts is that through the literature, we can conclude that if you, at the point where money determines happiness or not is in which you're at the poverty line till where you're at, like, an average income. But
Yeah.
past that point, past the point of where you can live, it won't make a difference because let's be honest, as we know, even though we won't admit it to ourselves, materialism doesn't really do anything.
Yeah, for sure.
Material items don't really help. So the extra money won't really do anything. And the fact is, as long as you can have enough money to get by, after that point, it's just up to you to figure out a meaning in your life. You got to find your responsibilities, you got to find your struggles, and that's what's really going to help you to live a noble life, in my opinion. But what do you think? What do you think personally?
Listen, what I think is, I agree with what you said there. It's to a certain extent. So, like, in my opinion, money can fix your short-term goals that lead to your long-term goals.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, I want to be a footballer or a soccer player. If I get $1 billion, $1 million, it's going to be easier for me to become a soccer player because now I have access to all this money. But I'm still not going to be a soccer player. I still need that passion that I have to accomplish, and then I have to go on and work my ass off, and then actually become a soccer player.
Yeah, it's like what I was like about that struggle and finding that personal responsibility. Like, for example, like a really profound psychologist, Dr. Jordan Peterson, for example, he always says, like, you got to pick up a load. You got to pick something up, and you really got to struggle. Because, like I said, at the end of your life, when you're sitting there and you're about to die, you're like, you know what, dude? I did the best I could.
Yeah, for sure.
I did the best I could. And, going back to, like, low level soccer or mid-level soccer, like, where your own personal income is really important, because
for sure,
the system isn't perfect. And what can you say? Because there's so many people who think they can make it and they just don't have the, and I'm not trying to discourage people, but that's just a fact,
Yeah,
like,
I mean, if you want to go for a dream that big, the odds are against you. It's obvious. You're probably not going to make it.
Yeah, there's like here's a statistic for you. Like, for example, in terms of the creative space, which I guess you could kind of relate to soccer and sports, right? 1% of the people in the space make up 50% of the work or money or whatnot. So it's very difficult. You got to be really realistic, and you need funding, and sometimes it can be really hard. So, like you're saying, money to help you pursue your dreams, for sure. I agree with that 100%, for sure.
Yeah, so you mentioned soccer, and there are like a lot of soccer players that I know and have seen. They're professional, but they also have a side job that they commit to, because just in America, it's basically pay to play, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So they're professional, but they still have a side job that they need for income, because it just doesn't pay enough at those lower levels.
It's even things like like motorsports, for example, there's pay drivers, and like how much money can this guy bring into the team, and all of these things. And it's but what though, Sadra, like, think about it like this: happiness. What is happiness? Happiness is the truth. Right? Happiness isn't like I'm sorry for lack of better words, fucking 10 broads in one night, or going out and partying for one night. That isn't happiness. That's short-term, secretion of happy hormones. Happiness is knowing that you worked your ass off, and you deserve to be where you are. You know what I mean? Not like for example, an F1, let's say, Formula One, like the racing,
the racing,
or any type of racing, or any kind of league sport. Like, there's pay drivers, pay players, and how much money can they bring in with the sponsor, blah, 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 blah. And everybody sees the truth, but nobody kind of brings it to light. But everybody knows deep down inside that this guy doesn't deserve to be here. And imagine being that person. Imagine being that guy that deep down inside, that you're not supposed to even be here.
And eventually it's going to catch up to you.
Yeah, you didn't make it here on merit. And in 2 years, they're going to drop you out because you weren't good enough. And then this goes back to the passion. Is full circle.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, let's say you have the money, right? But if you don't have the passion, what is that going to lead to?
Yeah.
Failure in the end. It's completely pointless, right?
For sure.
Either find passion in it and try and improve as best as you can. And sometimes you won't make it and you'll fail. And that's just how life is. Not everything is set in
for
stone,
sure.
you know?
Another thing I wanted to bring up is we talk a lot about like becoming a soccer player, all these big dreams and achievements everyone wants, but there's nothing wrong with not wanting that. Like if you're happy and you're passionate being a pizza driver, pizza deliverer, that's totally fine. You've basically won a life, you know?
Yeah, for sure. Like same thing with money. If you can meet that, you know, the enough money you need to live and survive, because at the end of the day, we're only here for 80, 90 years.
Yeah.
If you're having fun what you're doing, if you're having a good time and you're not fake, if you're not fake to yourself and you're actually enjoying what you're doing, who cares, dude? Honestly,
Totally.
who cares, bro?
For sure.
Like
Now,
even at my school, sorry to butt in, like
no, that's fine.
there's this janitor named what's his name? Segal. His name's Segal. And this guy, believe it or not, he has been working there for 20 years.
Yeah.
Every day he comes in, he's happy. He sees this. He even knows a few, like it's a pretty big university and a pretty big institution, but he knows a few of the people. And I talk to him all the time. We get in conversation and he's just such a swell guy. And, you know, he doesn't let, you know, a lot of people in his position, they could be like, I'm a janitor and all these superstitial things about being a janitor. And then you looking around and you're in this prestigious university and all these smart kids are around you and they're what determined to be successful and you're just some failure. But that's not the mindset. His mindset, he's just happy to do what he does.
Yeah.
He's jolly all the time. And that's how you got to be. Because if you're not like that, regardless if you make it to the top or not, you're still a failure deep down on the inside. In my opinion, you know, like it's easy to front your whole life, but there's no fronting when you're on the deathbed.
For sure. Another thing I wanted to bring up in that is like, I'm always going to be grateful because I live in one of the best countries, Canada, and I have food in my belly. I have both my parents alive. I haven't lost anyone during COVID. And, you know, I'm very grateful for what I have. There's always someone in a worse position than you. So I think being grateful for what you have is very, very important to the like happiness. What do you think about that?
For sure. You know, I don't like to talk about this too much because it's a little personal, but like, for example, one thing I do every day is three things I say to myself every day in the morning or whenever I remember and I get the chance, I make it a habit. I say, don't displease God, be thankful for my parents, and make my parents proud. Those are the three things I like to go
That's
by.
good.
So it's very important. Honestly, if you're not living a noble life, it's very difficult to, you know, it's you'll be in your 50s, your 40s, and you'll just be like, that's it. Like you're doomed, existential doom. Like your life is essentially, yeah, you got 40 more years, but it's just 40 more years of nothingness if you don't go into it with the right mindset, you know?
Good point you brought up. I think at 40, you said 40 more years. You're at half time there. You have a lot of time to do it, but you have to get in the right mindset.
Yeah.
You know? Like people are in their 50s, like, oh fuck, I'm fucked, man. I can't do anything else. I'm basically dead. Like, no, you have 50, 40 more years. Go do your thing. Even in their 20s, like people get stressed out, like, oh, I have to do this,
in your 20s, you got your whole life ahead of you, you know? And since you've been given this chance, this whole life ahead of you, use it, you know? It's like a lot of people, they don't choose, they like to jump between, you know, ideas of what they want to pursue, and they never really grasp a real life idea of what they want to do. And then they're, next thing they know, they're 35 and it's like, fuck. You know, what the fuck are we doing here? And that's not where you want to be, because then you're done for. And when you're at 40, 50, granted, you can change your mindset, but
for sure.
Very, very difficult compared to when you're 20, because you don't have that drive.
There was like a saying where it's like, you can't teach the old dog new tricks.
Ways. Yeah, exactly. Just like that. So
actually, there's a quote from Gary Vee, which I do agree with some parts of his mindset, which he said, during his 20s, he just worked in his dad's liquor store. And after, like, at 31, he started his brand, and it took him 5 years, and now he's a huge success. He said like you could do everything wrong in your 20s and you can still be successful in your passion or whatever you're pursuing.
Oh yeah, for sure. Because if you really think about it, what's the difference between like 24 and 18? Like 6 years is
Yeah.
nothing, man. 6 years is gone in a flash. I remember I started high school and then I finished it and I was like, man, holy shit, this just went by
Yeah,
so
for sure.
quick, man. Time is nothing. Time is
Yeah.
nothing.
So now, if you don't mind, we'll dive deep in one of your other areas of expertise, which is pharmacology. So tell
Oh,
us, what's pharmacology?
pharmacology. All right. What is pharmacology to me? Sorry, I don't mean to make this, all personal. I'm not.
Yeah, what
I'm
do you
not
think
a.
about it?
I'm not a, like a straight
Like
standard
imagine
scientific guy.
I don't know anything about it. So just tell me, what is it?
Okay, so pharmacology is essentially, in my opinion, what pharmacology is: the research and application of supplements, chemicals, compounds, etc. Like the whole study of chemistry used in the application of longevity, health, and minimizing risk of injury and whatnot, and all of these things. Just promoting a
Okay.
healthy lifestyle, in my opinion, or helping to
Okay.
combat diseases.
Yeah, that's totally fair.
That's not the standard like definition, but to me personally, that's why I pursued such things.
Okay. So if I'm not wrong, you're also interested in bodybuilding, right?
Yes, to
Okay.
a certain extent, yes.
To a certain extent. Like,
Yeah.
how does that relate to pharmacology?
Well, now we're gonna start getting all the trolls in the comments now. Guys, we're both natty, by the way, man.
Yeah, don't worry.
I'm not that big. Look, I'm not that big.
No one took SARMs here.
Yeah, no one took SARMs or
Don't
steroids or
worry.
anything. No worries. But look, in terms of how they relate, and it's not just bodybuilding too. It's enhancement and helping with insecurities. As messed up as that does sound, I think being able to help with insecurities is nothing far from great, to be honest with you. So helping to recover faster, grow your muscles bigger. I don't know, help with male ball, like especially male stuff, because nowadays a lot of men are just told to just suck it up and be quiet and
Yeah.
not to care about. And it's very difficult. Like for me when I was younger, now I've kind of accepted it, and I've dibble dabbled in some hair loss pharma myself, and it's starting to
Yeah,
regrow
for sure.
back. But like when I was younger, at the end of my high school, my late teens, like I was really insecure about, I was balding really heavily. And it's just like, even though no one else might really care, or it's just in their subconscious how they treat you, it's still like, it really, it was really important
Yeah,
to me to
listen,
get it fixed and stuff
for
like that.
sure. Everyone has insecurities. I have
Yeah.
insecurities. Everyone has insecurities. And I think the main way you deal with it is like you become friends with them. Like you let them out. You don't try to
Yeah,
hide them.
for sure. Like, it's, you first thing is accepting, like, all right, this is where I'm
And
at.
I'm not trying to say like you're doing that, like you're trying to hide them from the public or
Oh
anything.
no, for sure. No,
Yeah.
I'm straight up. Like, look, you can shave it, you can take Propecia, you can take dutasteride, you can take minoxidil, you can do whatever you want, dude. Nobody cares. You bring
Yeah.
whatever you want to the table, and as long as you're cool with that, that's all that matters, bro.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, one other thing I want to say, like you said, nobody cares. Like a lot
There,
of people.
no, I mean, in terms of how people perceive you, like,
Yeah.
it's very easy to get caught up in like this, what's the
Other
term,
people's opinion.
there's like a cognitive dissonance or something like that, where you think like a lot of, you're the main character kind of
Yeah.
thing. And it's especially prominent now amongst the youth. And it like
Like
people,
get over yourself. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like,
a
come
lot of
on.
people, yeah, for sure.
Who are you?
100%. Yeah, that's basically what I'm trying.
Yeah.
Get over yourself, but also, you know don't just sit there in your bed all day and cry.
Yeah.
Look into ways you can fix it if it's that big.
Yeah.
It's like, for example, people with chronic depression. I get a lot of these people, and I tell them, look, man, it's bad. Like, I understand, dude. Chronic depression is a very bad disease.
For sure.
Very clinical depression is so tough. It's like as if you wake up every morning and your dog has died, but 100 times worse than that. That's how you feel. It can get really bad. And it's like these stubborn people. I'm like, okay, look, you want to get better? Fix your sleep, fix your circadian rhythms, right? Start eating healthy, right? And look into antidepressants. See your family practitioner, go to a psychiatrist. And they don't do those things, and then they
Yeah,
expect to get better. And I understand, like,
it's
it's a
hard when you have it.
yeah, it's and there's a cycle of like social like self isolation from
Yeah,
people. It's like a feedback loop. It's like, for example, what I mean by this is like, what you block everybody, right? You block everybody's number. You block them on Instagram or Snapchat or Facebook or whatever, right? And then you start thinking to yourself, you get in your head and you're like, no, nobody's messaging me, man. What the hell? Or like,
yeah,
or whenever somebody does message you, you're super dry and inconsistent, which, it can't, you know, maybe you have something going on and whatnot, but then why would you expect them to even, get back to you? And then the loop begins. So you just block them out of spite. And then what are you going to do? Who are you going to talk to? So when I say, if you think you got something on, go see your practitioner. Look into
yeah,
antidepressants. Take some antidepressants. They can be very helpful. They'll fix your life sometimes. But some people just won't do it. But if you do, it could be very helpful, is what I
yeah,
mean,
for
you
sure.
know?
Listen, I agree with you, but at the same time, I'm very empathetic to those people, and I don't like to talk about things I really don't know. Personally,
Mm,
I've never
no,
had
for sure.
depression, and I hope that people that have it are like okay. Like it's a really serious topic, but I
Yeah,
don't really
for sure.
like to talk about things I don't know about. You know?
Yeah, no, but not even just specific. Like, if there's something that's wrong, you got to reach out. This is my whole, this is why I did pharmacology. If there's something wrong, there might be a chance you can help
Yeah,
yourself
for
or
sure.
fix it, whatever it may be. Balding, acne, you're overweight, whatever
Yeah,
it may be. So you got to go out there,
yeah,
and if you want to get better, you really got to take it in your own
yeah,
hands, because nobody will do it for you most of the time.
yeah. Totally, that's totally true. Now, I wanted your opinion on this, which is we kind of talked about it when we brought it up here and there, which is other people's opinion on you. I think it like especially in this era, a lot of people's unhappiness comes from comparing themselves to other and letting other
Yes,
people's
for sure.
opinion on you. And I
Hmm.
think when you're like shitting on yourself,
Yeah.
I don't think that's your own voice. I think that's the other people's voice that got in your head and then they're getting to you.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I agree with that. Think about, like, when you were a kid and everything was so sweet,
Yeah,
and then slowly as time goes on, people change, and then they start pointing things out to you about yourself,
yeah,
and then that really gets to you. But think back when you were a kid, none of that mattered.
yeah,
Nothing was important.
yeah,
So I think a majority of things are superficial, and nobody
yeah,
should really give a shit about them. But
yeah,
it's just the nature of human. If you tell somebody they're stupid enough times, they're gonna think they're stupid. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
for sure.
And it's, my way of thinking, and I'm pretty sure you think like this too. I think I've heard you talk about this before yourself, this mentality, but it's like, don't compare yourself to others. Wake up every morning trying to be a better version of yourself than you were yesterday.
Yeah, for
And then
sure.
that way you have nowhere else to go but static and up. And you
Yeah.
know what? You fail one day, that's fine. That doesn't make you any
If you're
less.
not failing, maybe you're not challenging yourself hard enough.
Exactly.
Yeah, for
For
sure.
sure. Yeah.
And to bring up another point, which is I think I have a pretty competitive mindset. And where it gets confusing is like sometimes like when I play soccer, especially, I see myself comparing myself to other players, but like in a positive way. Like I want to be
Hmm.
better than them. So I see like what they're good at and I try to replicate that. Like if someone has my position on the field, right?
Yeah.
Let's say someone's a defender and I'm on the bench. I
Hmm.
try to like compare myself, see like where he's good at, where I can be like him, so then I can take his spot. So yeah, what are your thoughts on that? Is it like
I
comparing
think
myself to others?
I don't think it's necessarily comparing yourself to others. It's like I said, 1% get 50% of the market sum or whatever it is.
Yeah,
So you really just gotta, you know, if you're seeing this in front of you and you can manifest it, why not?
yeah,
Honestly, why not? What's the big deal? Who cares? Nobody else's thing. This has nothing to do with anybody else's perception of you. It's just you analyzing other people and how that relates to you, and how maybe if I work on my stamina a little more, my endurance,
yeah,
maybe I work on with my left foot drills a little more, I could
yeah,
improve them much more in that sense. Then there's no issue in that. If anything, I feel like that's healthy. It's really
yeah, for
healthy,
sure.
because like you said, if you're not failing, if you're not trying to improve, then what are you doing?
Yeah,
So it's like that.
yeah, for sure. And I think like comparing yourself is bad. Like where I see that is like you see this guy on the field like taking my position perhaps. And it's like, oh, I'll never get to that level. Why is he so good? He doesn't
Mhm.
deserve that. Like you get all these negative thoughts coming and that stays in your head. That's where it's bad.
Yeah, but then also it's like, you analyze and you reflect.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
in terms of, and after the game, you think to yourself, was that really just of me to think like
Yeah,
that? you know and you
yeah,
just you reflect. Reflection is, a lot of people don't do that, but you really got to
yeah,
analyze your
yeah,
own thoughts and reflect upon them, because if you let something just go under the rug, then it'll go into your subconscious,
yeah,
and it'll always be there, and then it might become something bigger than it's supposed to be, honestly. So
yeah. Also, like I also want to bring that up. Like when I'm playing soccer, I might be dirty, I might trash talk, but after it's done, like I'll come up to him, like we'll shake hands, like how's the family, how are the kids, you know? It's
yeah, for
all part of the
sure.
game. But when it's out of the game, like we're friends, we're cool. Like I might say some dirty stuff during the game. I might be tackle, I might, you know.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's if anything, it's healthy to get in that mode. That
Yeah, it's
anger and
competitive.
whatnot.
Yeah,
It can really help with your performance and whatnot. I guess it's just depends on your personality,
yeah, for
honestly,
sure.
because some people really keep it on the inside, and then it's like, oh, let me show them through my actions, not my verbs or
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
whatever. But as long as it's pushing you through, who cares, dude? And
yeah,
at the end of the day, you guys are both in the same family. You guys are still pursuing the same passion. So at the end of the game, just go
yeah,
shake hands. Like, you have a good one, man.
yeah,
Leave
for
it. You
sure.
know what? Leave it on the court, like they say. Just leave it on the court. Only take the positives away from what
Yeah,
you're doing. So
yeah. So now, good talk. That was a good talk. Now we'll delve a little deeper into. I heard you talking about this today about caffeine pills. Now tell me, what's your
stimulants.
yeah stimulants? Tell me a little about that.
Well, at least in the U.S., there's a lot of stigma around testing and stims and stuff like that. I think my understanding is that in Canada, it's a little easier. Like, for example, here in the U.S., in certain leagues of baseball, you can't have too much coffee in your system, because then you'll fail a drug test, which is, in my opinion, kind of absurd. But essentially, caffeine and all these stimulants are basically amphetamine analogs. So amphetamine is kind of like a synthetic type pharma grade meth. Meth,
Yeah, yeah,
obviously. And you seen, like, the easy way to put it into perception for you is, like, think of a crackhead, super strength, super skinny, absurd aggression, right? And that's kind of what stimulants provide you. And it's, yeah, even pre-workouts, like in some leagues you can't take pre-work, like, too much pre-workout, but I think the stimulants and stuff like that is very helpful. They can do a variety of things. Like, for example, stims can really help with performance in terms of cardiovascular endurance. Whoa, like, significant gains depending on the profile of the stimulant you're taking. Some of them will are less, jittery and anxiety ridden and whatnot. And they really help. They increase your metabolism. They keep you focused. They'll so many things.
Yeah.
They make you shit more because they increase your metabolism. You'll be shitting all the time. Who doesn't want to shit? Like, if you're eating upwards of 200 grams of protein every day, you're having difficulty in that department for sure. You know what I mean? So it's just a great little thing. Is there
Yeah.
anything specific you want to know about it?
No, like listen, like what I said about depression, like I don't really know a lot about it, so I prefer like not
Oh,
to spread any false info, you know. So I'm basically I just wanted to hear your thoughts about it.
I think honestly, it's a great thing to leverage. Like within a certain realm, after it gets a little like, there's a lot of people who abuse prescription medication that they don't get on prescription, or they do and they overdose it extremely. Like, ephedrine, caffeine, some amphetamine analogs, pre-workout stuff
Yeah.
like that. I think it's very useful, and it doesn't really show to damage the cardiovascular system. Really, like for example, caffeine. The caffeine pills you're talking about.
Yeah.
Coffee and caffeine, to a certain extent, is neuroprotective. So what does that mean? It'll help you in terms of longevity. People think it decreases your lifespan. It could help you, decrease the risk of getting, excuse me, many sorts of like brain neurological diseases, brain cancer. It's very neuroprotective at a proper dosage. And also, who doesn't want to be focused? Who doesn't want to have extra drive?
Yeah.
And you know what? It increases your metabolism a little bit. Maybe you'll burn whatever, 20, 30, 40, 50, 100
Yeah.
more calories. Why not? You know what I mean?
We also have to keep it in moderation, right? You can't
Oh yeah, no,
overdo
of
it.
course. Like there's applications, a certain application would require a certain amount of caffeine or ephedrine or whatnot. And ephedrine is not necessarily supposed to be used as like a stimulant. It's legally it's supposed to be used for a bronchodilator. When you're sick, it makes you, it kind of expands your chest and whatnot to help
Yeah.
you breathe your sinuses. But people use it for all sorts of things. But as long as you're in moderation and you know what you're doing, education is very important, ladies and gentlemen. Please
Yeah, for
read,
sure.
read about what you're doing. Watch as much videos as possible, and look at the studies. Look at the studies. Because the common misconception, like I said, you don't know like stuff about caffeine. If I told you I drink 3 cups of coffee every day, you'd be like, oh, this guy's gonna have a heart attack soon. But that might not even be the case, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, no studies even prove that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So that was a good talk. Now, tell me, I think I forgot what you said. So you're currently pursuing your PhD, right?
Yes, I'm 3.5 years into my PhD, and I've been working on my thesis, my dissertation. Yeah.
Okay, so simple question. Where do you see yourself in 10 years?
In 10 years,
10 years.
honestly, I'd like to. It's obviously I'd like to be in the realm of pharma and biology and how they relate to one another, but I can see myself, working at a large company in a higher up
Yeah, for
management
sure.
level, or maybe I'll do something with my psychology degree. I've been thinking about staying at the institution or trying to get some sort of because obviously with the PhD you can teach as a doctor, you can teach as a professor at a school. So I've been looking at various schools, hey, you looking for, any type of psych and bio kind of pharma, how they all intertwine, teacher for some sort of courses like that, or like an assistant professor. I've been looking into that. And I don't mean to sound like, cocky or anything, but it's quite the cushy job. And it's fair. I've worked my fair share for the last 10, 12 years. I feel like it's fair for me to,
Okay.
have a nice job. I deserve it,
Okay. Yeah, for sure. I agree. If you work for something, you should definitely have it.
And it's like, if anything, it's also the passion 100%. If I
Yeah.
get to teach people what I love, and because I learned so many things that I found so fast. Like right now, I just told you this about the caffeine pills. You probably would have never known that if I didn't tell you.
Yeah, that's
You'd
true.
always been, and that's so fascinating. Like neuroprotective, people think it's gonna give you a heart attack, and it protects your brain from brain cancer.
Yeah.
That's amazing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, oh, I forgot what I was gonna say. You brought up like it's your passion. You're still gonna follow it. Like it's the same thing for me, you know. I'm trying to go pro, but if that doesn't happen, I don't mean like to
Oh
demotivate
no,
myself,
for
but
sure.
if
Yeah.
that doesn't happen, I'm still gonna play soccer. I'm still gonna post content. I'll try to find a way to make income out of it. But the worst comes to worst, I'll get a job. I'll play on the side as much as I can. You know?
Yeah, dude, that's the grind.
Yeah,
Honestly, that is the grind. You got to find your grind and you got to stick to it. Because
yeah,
the people who really stick to the grind, like Gary Vee, for example, those are the guys who win, man. He
yeah,
came from what? A liquor store? Look at him now.
yeah,
If you are passionate enough, you'll make it up the Pareto distribution 100%, and
yeah,
you will become successful
yeah, for
in
sure, for
whatever
sure.
realm. And you know what? Relevant, and you gotta compare. You don't not compare yourself, but be realistic. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like
You
don't be
gotta
delusional.
Yeah, don't be a lot of people, especially like in
Like be like, I'm gonna be
lower
a
league
professional
sports.
basketball player, and then
Yeah,
you play
yeah.
2 times a week.
Yeah. And like
Yeah,
I see, I like when I was going through high school. Oh my God, there was this one kid. I'm not gonna say his name, but like at first it was soccer for him through middle school all the way to like 10th grade, 11th grade, and then he switched it up, and then he said, I'm gonna be NFL or whatever, because I was born in Canada. I played
yeah.
I did my high school and my undergrad in Canada at UTM, University Toronto Mississauga. Let's go
Yeah.
Eagles! Woo! But basically, the guy.
Listen, I'm more of a Ridgeback fan, so I don't know where I stand
Okay,
with you
I
on
don't
that.
know who the Ridgebacks are, bro. I don't know
Okay, wow.
who are the
All right.
Ridgebacks. Who are the Ridgebacks?
Ontario Tech, yeah. We beat you guys 3 years
Oh,
ago
okay.
in the soccer final.
Okay, dude. Like I cared, dude. Soccer. Dude, soccer sucks, bro.
Well, you wanna get into that debate?
But what was I saying about the kid? Like
Yeah,
I mean, I don't mean to be rude about body types or whatnot, but you gotta understand physically where you're at. You can't be 110 pounds, 105 pounds, like just not even muscular, just skinny because you're 6 foot,
yeah,
5'11", 5'10", and say I'm gonna go to the NFL. When first of all,
yeah.
there's no NFL culture here. There,
It's
like,
true.
I know there's a soccer culture, there's a volleyball culture, but there's no there's no basketball or NFL culture, for example. Like, it's very difficult to go pro, and then to tell yourself that, and then to use that as an excuse to lay back on your academics, for example. Like, that's
Yeah,
just absurd. You know what I mean? And then, because to be honest with you, 100%, the conservative route is usually the right one in terms of like getting your education and getting a degree. But
yeah. It's a
obviously
safe
there's,
way, you know. There's
yeah,
nothing
there's a
wrong
safe
with
way,
wanting it the
and there's
safe
nothing
way.
wrong with that. It's just, sometimes people get a little too delusional and they don't
Yeah,
realize, they're not conscious of what's going on, and they just really, those are the people who go to their 30s, their 20s, their 40s, and they're like, shit, man, what was I doing? What was I
yeah,
doing? You know what I mean? It finally hits them. They're like, fuck, I really fucked up. I should have went to school and did something in the trades, or I should have went to school and gotten a degree and figured
yeah,
my shit out,
yeah,
instead
and
of living this
yeah,
Peter Pan, child dream that's,
yeah,
unrealistic and whatnot. And the guy he wasn't even like, he put all this, bro, he spent months eating like 1100 like, dude, what, like, his protein wasn't, it's absurd. Like I said,
yeah,
educate yourself before you want to do something. Talk to
yeah, for sure.
people. Talk to like some people who are doing what you want to
Yeah.
do. It's just God.
Listen, if I can get you on that,
Hmm.
talk to people, like get advice from others.
Yeah.
One thing for me that has been working is I would just go on Instagram, find coaches that are reliable, and I would just text them, like 100 of them.
Yeah.
Just ask about like random
The
soccer
grind.
questions. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
And I got left on red a lot actually, which is
Hmm.
surprising. But some of them got back to me and I got a good chunk of info from that. Like use the resources you have.
Use
I
the
don't see a lot of
resources
people
you
doing
have,
that.
and you gotta go for it, because no one
Yeah.
else is gonna go for you. That's
Yeah.
a great example right there. You really busting your ass messaging, because people can say, messaging is so easy. You're
Yeah.
always messaging. Dude, it takes actual effort to formulate proper paragraphs and
Yeah.
send them out to hundreds of people. Like, it's not easy.
And like I had a guy like he was trying to do the same. He's like, oh, I messaged 10 coaches and none of them got back to me. Like, you messaged 10, all right, message 50 more and then come to you.
Yeah.
And then message 50 more again.
Yeah, 100%. Like, it's with people trying to apply for jobs. They'll apply to 3 things with their resume. Like, who's gonna, 3 people? What are your chances? You gotta go after that grind. Tens of hundreds of people. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. One other thing you brought up is regret, and I think regret is scary. Like, if you go talk to like someone in their 90s at a retirement home, well, anyone else that's not like your grandpa or your grandma, right?
Yeah.
And you ask them about regret, and if they have some, like, you can see it on your face. Like, it's scary. It's one thing that keeps me motivated. Like you said, I don't want to be on my bed at like 101 years old. Like, fuck, man, I should have went for that. Why didn't I go for that?
Yeah.
No one wants to be that guy.
No one wants to live the last 30, 40 years in just existential doom. That's the thing.
Yeah.
I like, and the thing is, people get to that midway point, their 30s, their 20s even, and they just get really nihilistic.
Yeah.
There's no meaning. Fuck it. Or they're delusional, and then they only figure, and all these people trying to help and ground them. Like, fuck, I should have listened to them.
And listen, like, I have regrets. I'm sure you have some regrets. So we know, like, it's like small regrets. Like, I didn't ask my crush out in like the 7th grade or something, right?
Yeah.
But those, like, the regrets get deeper as you get older.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
Like,
100%.
it catches up on you eventually.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like, regrets and whatnot, for sure. Like, you're gonna have some regrets, but it's it's not gonna. It shouldn't be stuff that's gonna keep you up at night, because that's when that's when you like.
Fucked up.
That's when you fucked up, and it's heartbreaking. Honestly.
And to that point, like I said, like, to an extent, like, you need to grow up. Like, I didn't ask my grade 7 crush out. That shouldn't be able to keep me at night. You need to put things into perspective, which I think is really important.
Yeah, it's all about the moment and when it happens.
Yeah.
You gotta understand that.
Yeah,
your perception and stuff like that, for sure. 100%, man.
Yeah, so listen, it's been a good talk. How long? Like 40 minutes? I'm not even sure, to be honest. I have this one.
For a while.
Yeah, I don't know.
Sure. No, it's been fun, man, for sure. Really educational and stuff like that, for sure.
I have one more question, which if you don't want to, you don't have to answer, but do you think you're happy right now?
Me, am I happy right now?
Yeah.
I mean, to a certain extent, yeah, for sure, I'm happy, but I'm not where I'd like to be. There's things I'd like to improve on, for sure. And at the end of the day, I'm looking at. It's very difficult when you're, doing your dissertation and stuff like that. Even this meeting, and I don't mean to, sound like like this or anything like that, but I had to make time in my schedule to do this talk.
Yeah,
but I'd like, for sure, in the future, one of my biggest goals is just to have a family and kids. And sometimes it's just very difficult to find the right girl. And that's for sure. Stuff
you're
like
in the
that.
process. You're not at the finish line yet.
Yeah. That's one of my biggest, things. And also, there's something else, but I don't know if I should be saying, but it's like,
listen, you don't have to share it if you don't want to.
No, it's fine. It's not that big a deal. I just hope nobody from my institution sees this. I honestly, when I was younger, when I decided to go to Massachusetts, but if I could go back and change one thing, maybe it would stay closer to home, because like I didn't get to see my family that much, and a few people passed away, and I didn't get a chance to really connect with them as much as I wanted. And that, what, we'll leave it on this, like, no regrets. If you can call your parents once or twice a week, call them. If you can, if they're still there, because you don't want to be in your 50s, your 40s, and just be like, fuck, man, I should have called my mom more.
Yeah,
I should have called my dad more, and stuff like that.
There was a good analogy. I don't know who I saw it from. Maybe it was like a video on TikTok or Instagram, but it said, like, let's say like you have 20 years with your parents, right? like you're 20 and like they're gonna die in 20 years, let's just say as an
Yeah,
analogy. You're like, oh, I have 20 more years with my parents. That's amazing. 20 years is a lot. But let's say like you go see them like two times, two times, two times a year. 20 years, that's 40 times. You're only gonna see
yeah.
your parents 40 times,
19
and that's
20
gone.
years.
That's dead. Yeah.
Man. And it's not even just you, it's kind of selfish to just think like that too. It's like, imagine all the things your parents want to do or say to you too in that time.
Yeah, yeah.
You
It's
got
really
to be
gut wrenching.
empathetic, man. You got to be kind and empathetic, and you got to balance that between being selfish and mean and rude and sticking on that grind. It's all
Yeah.
about balance in this world, honestly.
Listen, like I don't want to bring that up, but like what happened to Kobe? You know, he was very successful. He did everything right. He didn't do anything wrong. He did everything right.
Yeah.
In one instant, it was gone.
Done.
That's it.
Yeah, for sure. That's how it is here.
Yeah.
And that goes back to, these delusion and stuff like that. You gotta think smart, you gotta play it safe, but you gotta take the risks when you can. And that's really the key. It's just having
Yeah.
that balance. That's really it, honestly.
Listen, I don't like to think about it, but what's weird is if COVID happened like 2 or 3 months earlier, Kobe would have still been alive to this day.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
that's the way life is, man. You can't count on anything. That's why
Yeah.
we say go see your family earlier. That's
Yeah.
why it's like, maybe I will. Yeah, sure, I'm in Massachusetts, but maybe I
You're
went.
still making the effort.
I'm still making that, and maybe I should have went to go see my aunt
Yeah.
more a few times. You know what I mean? Stuff like that, for sure.
Yeah. And like I said, like be grateful for what you have. There's always someone out there that has it worse than you. So like let's say you didn't get that scholarship, you didn't get that offer, you failed one of your classes.
Yeah,
Always think back, like I have this, I live in a good country, I have loving parents.
for sure.
Okay, not everyone has loving parents.
Yeah,
You know, I have food on my belly, I'm living well. Just stick to that. You know, something bad happened, reflect on it, get rid of it. It's the past, it's gone.
yeah, dude. Like, just like a lot of right now, I know it's application time, or it might even application time for high school students. It's like, dude, you failed one course. Okay, man, that's fine. Do the summer course. Wait an
Yeah.
extra year and go back to school. What is 1 year in the grand scheme of things?
Yeah.
Nothing. It's one.
It's like
It's one blink in an
yeah.
eye. Yeah.
0.01%.
And you know what? I get it. You might look around and see your friends. He's going to the top university.
See, that's what pisses me off. Like the
Or
comparison of others.
or he's starting his degree this summer,
Yeah, for
or
sure.
whatnot. And it's very difficult. But if you sit down and you analyze and you really reflect and you see what's best for you, you'll see, shit, man. Maybe I should just disconnect from that and really focus on myself and be like, this summer I'll do the course and I'll apply next year. Who gives a shit?
Yeah,
Gives me an extra year to
yeah,
fuck around before I
yeah.
waste 4 years of my life for some shitty degree that won't take me anywhere.
Listen, and that's where I hate comparison. Like you see your friend, like let's say my situation, let's say one of my friends made it to the MLS, and be like, oh fuck man, he made it to the MLS, and that brings me
Yeah,
down and that creates insecurities.
for
That's
sure.
oh, I hate comparing so much. Like you should be happy for them. Like I'll be like, yo, well done, bro. You made it to the MLS. You did
Yeah,
it.
and can I just add? You
Yeah.
continue the thought in a second, but can I just from a psychological standpoint, psychology and whatnot? You know, there's this thing. You have good friends when you give them good or bad news. They don't make it about themselves, but rather make it about you. So if you're like, I'm going through this, instead of being like, oh dog, it's okay, my girlfriend broke up with me a month ago. Instead of being like that, you'd be like, don't fucking worry about it, dude. You got this shit. Or it'd be like, oh man, I made the MLS. Instead instead of you being like, oh nice, dude. And then telling
Yeah.
yourself, fuck this guy, dude. This fucking
Yeah.
douche
Fuck this guy.
boasting about
I should be
MLS.
there instead. I hate
I
that.
should
I
be there
should be
instead.
like, Bucky, you didn't do the work.
Instead, you're like, you know what, dude? You fucking woke up at 5 a.m. for a whole year, dude.
Yeah.
Props to you, dog. You fucking made it. And I can
Yeah.
do it too, and we'll do it together. And
And
it's
one
all about
thing, yeah.
positivity.
And one thing, that's a great analogy. One thing, like anyone that you see that ever made it didn't do it without the hard work.
Yeah,
Like, it's just not possible.
100%. Or if they did make it without the hard work,
Yeah,
they're just gonna
some
fall
kind
off.
of like,
They're
yeah,
gonna fall off,
yeah,
and they'll be that existential doom for the rest of their life. That 30-year-old who failed, or
yeah,
the scrub who went to the D1 or D2 or whatever for a year or two, and they thought they were really good. But
yeah. And like they bring it up like 6 years old, like I was at
yeah.
D1.
And it's like in reality, they just they knew somebody that knew somebody, and
Yeah,
they just
yeah,
did
yeah.
really shit, and they were at the end of the roster on all the data,
Yeah,
and you
yeah.
know what I mean. And then they gotta live with that with the rest of their life. So you gotta be realistic, or you're gonna be
For
like
sure.
that, you know.
Yeah, listen, it was a great talk. I think we covered pretty much everything.
Yeah, for sure, man.
Yeah.
100%.
Anything you want to cover? You want to say?
To be honest with you, I kind of want to go sleep, man.
That's totally fine.
I got some stuff to do too. But honestly, though, this was really fun. I appreciate it for having me on. I'll for sure 100% I'll come on again if you invite me.
Yeah, for sure.
And I'm honored to be your first guest out of all the people you could have chose. You chose this idiot, but it's all good, man.
All right,
I appreciate it. Yo, Sadra, for real though, man, you're a dope guy. I wish you the best with all the stuff you're doing.
All right,
And
thanks.
shout out to me anytime you need anything. All right.
All right, got you.
All right, man. And remember,
So,
everybody. Wait.
one thing.
Before we go.
Okay, yeah,
wait. Before we go, few things. Remember, make God proud. Be grateful for your parents and make your parents proud. Tell yourself those 3 things every day. All right. Remember that.
Listen, if that's a great point you made there. Where can they contact you? Where can they find you? Are you on any social medias?
I don't like to use social media and stuff like that.
Okay, that's totally
to be
fine.
honest with
Yeah.
you. But maybe if you have me on again, I'll make something, and if people want to message me or whatnot, I can help people and give some anecdotal
For
stories
sure.
and stuff. Remember, all for educational purposes. None of the don't take any of this stuff.
All right, Mr. Dr.Babaki. Thanks for that.
For sure.
Thanks for being a guest.
Yeah, dude, Mr. Keshavar Safi, it was great. Sadra, I really appreciate it, man, for sure. All right.
All right.
Doctoral candidate, Dr. Babaki, out. Have a great day, everybody.
All right.
Bye-bye.
See ya.